How does a family coping with loss become vulnerable to the sinister machinations of an ancient demon bent on their internal destruction? Welcome back to Movie Recap World. Today, we will take a look at the movie The Offering, released in 2022. If you're ready, let's begin. At the beginning of the movie, we see a dimly lit and cluttered house. An old man is seen cutting a rooster while pouring sand on the ground. And at the same time, a force throws a book on the floor. An old woman comes and asks him why he's hurting us and what he thinks he's doing. The old man replies, saying she'll burn in hell, and he takes a book and starts reciting prayers. A little girl approaches him, but can't go beyond the sand. She tells the old man that she can bring his wife back, although he doesn't believe her at first. He eventually changes his mind and surrenders himself to the devil. In a snowy street, in a car, a woman named Claire and her boyfriend Arthur are having a conversation. Claire is worried about meeting Arthur's father, but Arthur assures her that it won't be a problem. They enter a building and come across a sacred shrine where Jews gather. Arthur's father, Saul, greets them and tells Claire that she is part of the family. Then he embraces her. While they are having dinner together, Arthur asks for permission and gets up from the table. Saul tells Claire that he wants her to come to their wedding and apologizes. Meanwhile, Arthur is on the phone in the bathroom and learns that the bank could seize his mortgaged house at any moment. He returns to the dinner table and sits down. At that moment, there's a knock on the door and Saul asks Arthur for help. They enter the morgue together and encounter a crazy old man named Hamish. It appears that Arthur already knows him. When Saul opens the bag, he sees Yassel's body, who is the old man we saw at the beginning of the movie, surrendering himself to the devil. They recite prayers, and Hamish calls Saul to talk, while Arthur takes out the knife from Yassel's body and slowly removes his clothes, revealing Yassel's necklace. Just as he is about to take off the necklace, Yassel's eyes open, and suddenly the power goes out. Arthur retreats in great fear, and the necklace falls to the ground. As Arthur's father approaches, he throws the necklace into a drain and tells him everything is fine. Saul tells Arthur that he will take care of everything from here, expressing his joy at his arrival. Arthur sees that Claire is asleep and decides to explore the house a bit because if he goes straight to bed, he will miss the show of evil spirits in the house. After wandering around for a while, he suddenly hears noises and gets a headache. In response, he goes to his room as if nothing happened and falls asleep. At midnight, Claire wakes up from her sleep, looks at the door, then turns her head and calls Arthur, but he doesn't respond. She goes to the bathroom and notices that the light she turned off is on again. As she walks toward the light, Yassel jumps on her and holds her stomach. At that moment, he wakes up from his sleep and realizes that it was just a dream. When he gets up and leaves the room, we see some blood on his bed. Saul calls an acquaintance and tells them about the strange inscriptions on the knife Yassel used to kill himself, explaining that these inscriptions are a spell to seal evil spirits but require a necklace. Saul tells him that the necklace is missing and reassures him that there is no cause for concern in this situation, because the necklace is needed for the seal. Saul goes down to the morgue, examines Yassel's body for a while, takes a book in his hand, and then decides to put the body back, abandoning his suspicions. While Claire is recording a video of the meals, she sees a silhouette and gets scared. Later, she realizes that she can only see the silhouette on the camera and notices that two legs are swinging. When she puts the camera to her ear to listen to the sounds, she hears a scream and drops the camera, causing it to break. While Hamish is in the car, Arthur's phone rings and Hamish answers it, learning that Arthur has applied for a loan. While Saul is reciting a prayer, Claire comes in and Saul tells her something. Claire asks him a question about spirits, and Hamish enters the room, saying that Arthur is actually trying to sell Saul's house and that his reason for coming here is not to mend the relationship, but for money. When Saul hears this, he is shocked and Arthur goes to collect his belongings. In the meantime, Claire enters and asks what's going on. Arthur tells her that he hasn't been able to sell the house for 2 years, and Claire gets angry with him. Arthur says that he wasn't planning to secretly sell the house, but rather to ask his father at the right time. But it seems like it's too late for that now. While Saul is in the morgue, he hears some sounds, and as he goes towards the source, the doors start opening and closing, and he sees a large dark figure. As he tries to escape, all the lights go out, and when he turns on a lamp, he sees a horned demon in front of him. He starts praying, but it doesn't work, and we hear Saul's coughing sounds. I guess Saul dies here, my friends. Arthur goes down to the morgue and sees that his father is dead. Hamish blames Arthur for the situation. After everyone leaves, Arthur takes off his father's ring and keeps it. Then he breaks down in tears. During Saul's funeral, Arthur experiences an unpleasant pressure, so he runs and enters his room. When the door closes on its own, he opens it and goes outside, noticing that a piece of wood on the door is broken. While Claire is at the funeral, time suddenly stops, and a little girl shouts at her to help. Claire screams and runs away, telling Arthur that something is wrong, but Arthur remains silent. One night, Arthur starts carving a kind of seal in his dream, and when he wakes up, he realizes he is just lying on a carpet. He goes to Claire and says, "I think I'm going crazy," and Claire suggests going home. Hamish quits working at the morgue, and when Arthur wants Yosil's body to be burned, he learns that he needs to talk to a relative about it. When he goes to Yosil's house, he sees various spells and the phrase, "Forgive me." He opens a voice recorder and learns that Yosil made a terrible mistake and summoned a demon. Claire hears a knock on the door of the house, and a woman named Ida enters, saying that her husband is here. Yes, folks, you remember correctly. This woman was dead. Claire calls Arthur and tells him that Yosil's wife is here, and before Arthur can respond, the call ends. The woman insists to Claire and says she wants to see her husband. Claire is forced to accept and goes down to the morgue with the woman. The woman strokes Claire's belly. When they descend, Claire opens a drawer and sees Yosil. Realizing that she saw this man in her dream, and she feels a pain in her stomach, the woman tells her that she needs to burn the necklace to fix this, and Claire does so. But when the demon sees her, she screams and jumps into the elevator. The elevator doesn't go up, and as she's about to press the button again, the demon's hand reaches out to her. Finally, the elevator goes up, and when Claire exits, she sees everything in ruins. She notices that the door is locked and tries to call Arthur, but the phone flies out of her hands onto a seal on the floor. Arthur answers the phone and starts laughing. If Arthur isn't getting paid by the demon, then this is actually an illusion. Claire hides under a table, but Ida finds her. Sarah meets Arthur, sees that Claire is unconscious, and takes her in her arms. Just as she is about to leave, she finds herself empty-handed inside. She picks up Claire again and tries to leave, but the same thing happens. Sarah tells Arthur that she wants to make a deal and shows him children playing outside, demanding a sacrifice. When Arthur refuses, his ears ring, and when he opens his eyes, he realizes that no one is there. He calls Hamish on the phone, and in the evening, Hamish comes and witnesses what has happened. He shows Hamish the tape of Yosil summoning the demon, and Hamish can't believe what he sees. They then call a specialist demonologist and investigate the situation. The demonologist goes to where Yosil is and joins the broken pieces of the necklace. He tells Arthur that he needs to kill himself to seal the demon. Suddenly, the windows shatter, lights burst, and the demonologist's neck breaks. Arthur escapes with Hamish and pours sand on the ground to keep the demon away. Hamish gives him Saul's holy book and asks him to complete the circle with holy sand. However, the demon takes Hamish and kills him. Arthur sees his wife, Claire, and runs after her, starting to recite prayers to save her. Black smoke comes out of his mouth, and he takes a knife and tries to kill himself. But the knife goes far away, Claire screams at Arthur, and at that moment, Hamish takes the knife and goes to Arthur. Arthur tells him, "Stab me," and Hamish reluctantly stabs him. Just when they think the seal is complete, Hamish tells Arthur that he shouldn't have stepped out of the circle. Arthur realizes it's an illusion and dies after seeing Hamish's real body. Suddenly, in another scene, we see Claire under the table. She gets up from the table and looks around, seeing Arthur. When she runs towards him, Arthur transforms into a demon and kills Claire. And the movie ends here. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing. See you in the next one.